When you're just starting off, it can be extremely overwhelming to figure out how to get your first wholesale deal. I mean, there are literally dozens of ways to market yourself as a real estate wholesaler. And if you're like me, when I first started off, you're not going to have a lot of money to utilize every marketing strategy. So what do? Do I cold call a list? Do I drive for dollars? Do I send out postcards and mailers? Do I use bandit signs? What the hell do I do? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you my top 3 tips to getting your first wholesale deal. Hey there, clever investors. Cody Sperber here with another training video, and today we're going to be going over my top 3 tips to getting your first real estate wholesale deal. Now, when you're first starting off in this business, it can be pretty challenging to put in all the work necessary to be able to get your first deal. So today, I'm going to be giving you some really good tips on how you can land your first wholesale check. But before we dive in, if you're new to my channel, I'm excited that you're here. Welcome. This channel is all about escaping the rat race and realizing true freedom in your life through creative real estate investing strategies. So if this is something that interests you, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, turn on post notifications. That way you're notified whenever I drop new content just like this. Also, make sure that you let me know that you're new to the channel in the comment section down below, and I'm going to hook you up with a link to a download to my free real estate contracts. These are absolutely free. These are about $3,000 worth of real estate contracts. My gift to you so you're set up for success in this business. For everybody else, welcome back. Now, I remember how difficult it was as a newbie to stay motivated to get my first deal. I mean, it was a struggle to say the least. Now, it's an intense amount of focus and determination to continually do the things necessary to build that momentum and generate leads. So with that being said, let's dive into this training. All right, this is my first tip. Tip number 1 is to get creative with your lead generation. Now, there are literally dozens of different ways to market and generate leads. And the truth is, there are probably dozens, if not hundreds of different wholesalers all scratching and clawing to get the same deals. And if you live in a market like mine here in Phoenix, Arizona, if you just drive down the street, you can almost guarantee that you're going to see a bandit sign or two marketing wholesale services. So what I'm trying to say is everybody is doing the same thing. So when you're first starting out, you have to think of creative ways to do things differently or do things better. So here's a couple of creative ideas that you can put into action with your lead generation. Number 1 is to cold call real estate agents to see if they're interested in working with investors. Now, sometimes listing agents can be a great asset for your real estate business. They have direct contact with people who need to sell their houses. And if they have clients who've been trying to sell their house for a really long time and they don't have any activity on their listing, this could be an amazing opportunity for a clever investor such as yourself to show up and make these sellers an all-cash offer to purchase their homes. Now, you can cold call listing agents by looking at websites like Zillow or Redfin, and you can usually get the contact information on those listings for free. All right, try to focus in on the homes that have been sitting on the market for a really long time because this is most likely going to give you the highest likelihood of them being a motivated seller. You get what I mean. Number 2 is don't just focus on marketing to one single list. Now, getting creative with lead generation, it means to also diversify your deal flow. Now, I preach this all the time, but driving for dollars can be an amazing way to find off-market deals. So what do? You got to commit to spending your weekends to driving for dollars and build a big list of potential deals. And once you have a list of 100 to 200 properties that you've identified as potentially vacant deals or distressed looking real estate, simply skip trace the list. Get the contact information of the homeowners that actually own the properties and call them all as much as possible. Build your driving for dollars list in conjunction with your primary marketing efforts. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Now, number 3 is don't be afraid to locate FSBO properties and speak directly to the homeowners. Now, this is a Hail Mary creative idea, but FSBOs, which also stands for sale by owner properties, could have potentially good diamonds in the rough just sitting there waiting for you. And what I mean by this is, not every single person is going to be motivated, but there's going to be some for sale by owner properties where they're highly motivated and they own their homes free and clear and their house has been sitting there for a really long time. And I've said this in previous videos, but it's the formula for success is motivation plus equity equals deals. And if you can locate a FSBO property that's been sitting on the market for a long time, you might just find yourself talking to somebody that's highly motivated, has a great deal of equity, and they're wanting to do a deal with you, which is exciting, all right? So work that FSBO list as much as you can. Now let's move on to the next tip. Tip number 2 is to consider co-wholesaling or joint venturing. Now, the process of co-wholesaling or joint venturing, it could pay off dividends in the long run if you can find other wholesalers who don't mind working with you. Now, some wholesalers, they may have additional inventory and they're struggling to find cash buyers for that inventory. And this could be a perfect way for you to break into the business and get your first deal check. Now, bringing a buyer to the table, it's a perfect way for you to get some quick cash in the door. You can help these other wholesalers market their deals in ways that they're not currently doing. So remember, it doesn't hurt to make the calls and ask the questions. Now, don't expect to make a fortune by co-wholesaling. It's more of a starter strategy if you're just trying to get to a deal faster. But let's just say you got a deal under contract and now it's the other side of the coin. Maybe you don't have a cash buyers list. You can reach out to other wholesalers and say, hey, I know you have a cash buyers list. Let's work together. You can help sell my deal and I'll split the deal 50-50 with you, which could be totally worth it depending on the deal and the amount and the speed in which they bring a cash buyer to the table. Regardless of how you decide to joint venture, make sure you do your due diligence on the other party, the other wholesaler, and make sure that your paperwork protects you from any potential loss. And remember, I'm giving away those contracts down below. And also, in the comment section down below, just let me know if you'd like to see me do a video on how to co-wholesale a deal properly. All right, let's talk about my last tip. Tip number 3 is make a ton of calls. Your success in real estate is going to be directly correlated to your ability to generate leads. And your deal flow, it can be kind of imagined like a giant funnel. And at the very top of that funnel is the amount of calls you're doing. And let's just walk through what all the steps in the funnel will look like so that way you can understand how it's going to break down. Like I said, at the top of the funnel is the number of leads that you're generating or the number of calls that you're actually making. And the next layer of the funnel could be the number of appointments that you have set. And then the next level is the number of homes that you actually have under contract. And at the bottom of the funnel is the amount of deals that you've actually closed. So let's just assume that your goal is to get 2 deals per month. Assuming a 75% close rate on all of the homes that you actually put under contract, that means that you're going to need to put at least 3 houses under contract in order to get 2 of them to close. And to get your 3 homes under contract, let's assume that you have like a 15% close rate on your appointments that you set. This means that you're going to need to have at least 20 appointments with motivated sellers to close your 2 deals. Now, to get your 20 appointments, let's assume that you're converting at 5% of all the cold calls that you're making into actual appointments. This means that you need to make a minimum of 400 calls. And I know that feels like a lot of phone calls, but this is absolutely normal. And trust me, when you get the 2 deals, it's so profitable, it totally makes it worth it. Now, I'm using very conservative estimates for my closing percentages, but if you have the right list and you're consistently calling, you can expect to make hundreds of calls to your lead list and end up doing deal after deal after deal, and I'm telling you it's going to pay off. All right, let's just recap my top 3 tips for getting your first deal. Tip number 1 was get creative with your lead generation. Don't follow the crowd. Use different creative ways to capture people's attention. Tip number 2 was consider co-wholesaling or joint venturing. This can help you leverage other wholesalers' buyers list or help get your deals sold quickly. And tip number 3 was just make a ton of calls. You know that you're going to, you know your amount of deals that you want to do per month, and you can just kind of work backwards and do the math on how many calls it's going to take to get you there. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in today's training video. What do you guys think about these tips? Do you have any experience doing any of these things? Let me know your feedback in the comment section down below. Don't forget to get your free contracts. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Along with the contracts that I'm giving you, there's going to be a free training video. That way you could just keep going with your training and then get out of the classroom and get into the real world as fast as humanly possible. That's my ultimate goal for you. Set ourselves up to make our next year the best year of our lives. All right, thank you. Hopefully you got something from this. Smash that like button if you did. And until next training video, I'm Cody Sperber, the Clever Investor, signing off for now. Take care. Comb your hair. Sperber out.